I never thought I'd be that guy who'd catch his wife cheating on him, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with Amanda for about 5 years now. On paper, everything looked perfect. Great job, nice house, good friends, and yeah, we'd had our ups and downs, but what relationship does? Still, lately, I'd noticed Amanda becoming a lot more defensive, secretive even about small stuff. She'd pick fights over nothing, get defensive if I asked where she was, and I'd catch her deleting texts or hiding her phone more often. At first, I thought she was just stressed, maybe working too much, but the gut feeling kept gnawing at me. I kept telling myself I was overthinking, that maybe I was just paranoid, but deep down, I knew something was off. It all started when I hurt my shoulder during a basketball game, and that's how I met Tom, my physical therapist. He's a good guy, professional, knows his stuff. Amanda was supportive, came to some of my sessions, and we even joked about how I'd be back on the court in no time. But I noticed something strange. She'd call me after every session, asking how I was, but her tone was different. She'd be short, clipped, and sometimes she'd seem distracted. I brushed it off, but the moment I saw her texting during dinner, sneaking her phone under the table, I started to get suspicious. One day I decided to follow her. I didn't want to, but I had to know. She told me she was going to the grocery store, but I saw her drive past our gym, pull into the parking lot, and then she got into that damn therapist's car. My stomach tightened and I froze. I watched her lean over, kiss him, and then they drove off together. That's when I saw it all, the way she looked at him, the way she touched him like she was hiding not just from me but from herself. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My wife cheating with my therapist, right outside our gym where I had just been a few hours earlier, clueless. That moment hit me like a punch in the gut. I felt anger, betrayal, shock, and this sick sadness all at once. How had I missed it? How did it get so bad? I wanted to confront her right then, scream at her, ask what the hell she thought she was doing, but I knew I needed to cool down. Still, I couldn't shake the image of her lips on his, the way her face lit up when she was with him. It was like I was watching my whole life crash down in slow motion. She was always bitchy, always lying, but this was something I never expected. I felt broken, betrayed beyond anything I'd ever known. I went home that night trying to piece everything together, and I couldn't get the image out of my head. I kept asking myself how she could do this, why she'd cheat with someone we both knew, someone I trusted. The worst part, she always made herself out to be the victim, saying I was too controlling or paranoid, but guess what? I wasn't paranoid. Not anymore. I knew for sure she'd been lying, sneaking around behind my back, and that she'd been doing it for months. It was a sick, sick betrayal, and honestly, I felt like I was drowning in it. I spent the night tossing and turning, trying to figure out what my next move would be, knowing that from this moment forward, everything was going to change. The next morning, I woke up feeling numb but also furious. I kept replaying that scene in my head, the way she looked, the way she kissed him, the secret that had been sitting between us for God knows how long. I couldn't believe I had missed all the signs, or maybe I just didn't want to see them. I'd always trusted her, and now that trust was shattered into a million pieces. I knew I had to confront her, but I also knew I'd have to be smart about it. I couldn't just blow up and start yelling. I needed a plan. I decided to do some digging first. I checked her phone, her emails, her social media. Nothing too overt, she's good at hiding things. But I found a few texts that didn't sit right. Mostly vague messages from Tom, stuff about sessions, and seeing each other outside of work, with emojis that I didn't even know she knew how to send. I felt sick reading those. She lied to me countless times about where she was going, who she was with, and now I knew why. She'd been sneaking around, hiding her affair like it was some dirty secret she was ashamed of. I didn't want to just confront her blindly. I wanted to catch her in the act if I could. I started paying closer attention. Her schedule changed. She was suddenly working late a lot, claiming she was catching up on work. But I knew better. She was meeting him, probably more often than I wanted to admit. I watched her leave the house a few times, probably to meet him, and I started to feel this uncontrollable mix of rage and heartbreak. How could she do this to me, to us? After everything we'd built, she was out there with someone else, using me as her damn excuse. Then one afternoon, I decided to follow her again. I hid behind some bushes outside our gym, just to see if she was telling the truth about her stories. That's when I saw her car again, parked in the same spot as the day before. My heart pounded. I saw her get into the passenger seat and then my stomach sank. The same damn therapist Tom was driving. They drove off together like they didn't give a damn that I might be watching. For a split second, I considered confronting them then and there, but I knew that wouldn't do any good. I needed a clear plan. I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with. That night, I sat in the dark, trying to process everything. I was furious, yes, but also devastated. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was cheating behind my back with a guy I trusted to fix my shoulder. It was a punch to the gut I didn't see coming. I kept thinking about all the times she'd been bitchy, how she'd lie about stupid things like going to the store or meeting friends. All along, she'd been sneaking off to see him, to get her fix of whatever she was getting from that sick affair. I wasn't just angry, I was humiliated. How could I look at her the same way again? How could I even trust her now? I knew I had to confront her, but this wasn't going to be a simple, straightforward conversation. No, this was a war. I spent the night planning what I'd say, how I'd approach it. I wanted her to admit everything, too. See the damage she'd done. But part of me wondered if she'd deny it, lie her way out of it like she always did. That's what she was good at, lying, manipulating, making herself the victim. I couldn't let her do that anymore. I had to be prepared for everything because I was done playing nice. This wasn't just about a cheating wife anymore. It was about redemption, or maybe revenge. Either way, I knew I wouldn't come out the same. The day I finally decided to confront Amanda, I felt like I was walking into a battlefield. My stomach was twisted, my mind racing with all the possible ways she'd try to lie her way out of it. I had spent the night rehearsing what I'd say, calm, controlled, but also firm enough to get her to admit the truth. I knew Amanda. She's bitchy, manipulative, and a master at twisting any situation to her favor. Still, I was determined to get her to face what she'd done. When she came home that evening, she was acting normal, too normal, honestly, like nothing had happened. She breezed past me in the hallway, threw on a "What's your problem?" look when I looked at her. I could see her trying to act like the innocent victim, like I was overreacting. That's her typical move: deny, lie, manipulate, but I wasn't having any of that. I blocked her in the living room, stared her down, and just said, "We need to talk, now." Her eyes narrowed, the usual bitchy smirk creeping onto her face. "Oh, really? What is there to talk about, Mike? I've been working late, that's all. You're paranoid as usual." She crossed her arms, trying to dismiss me. But I wasn't buying it. I pulled out my phone and showed her the texts from Tom, screenshots of their conversations, the photos I'd taken of her car outside his office, the times she'd lied about her whereabouts. Her face suddenly lost its composure, the smirk fading into something else, panic mixed with anger. She spun around, trying to deny everything, but I cut her off. "Save it, Amanda. I saw you with him. I saw you kissing him. Don't even bother pretending anymore. You've been sneaking around, lying, using me like I'm an idiot. How long has this been going on?" She looked defiant, angry even, and for a moment I thought she'd deny it again. Instead, she shot back, "Maybe I was bored. Maybe I needed something new, something exciting. It's not a big deal, it's just sex, Mike. You act like I cheated on you with some lifelong commitment, it's just sex." Her words hit me like a punch to the chest. I could see her trying to make me feel guilty, like I was overreacting. That's typical Amanda: blame everyone else, shrug off her actions, act like she's the victim. But I wasn't buying it, not anymore. I told her I knew about everything, how I'd been watching her for a while, and how I felt betrayed beyond words. Her eyes flickered with a mixture of disdain and disdainful amusement, like she thought I was overreacting. She called me paranoid, said I was jealous, that I was insecure. She told me I was crushing her spirit, making her feel trapped. I listened to her bullshit and realized how much she loved twisting everything to fit her narrative. The anger in me started to boil over. I couldn't stand the way she talked about it, like it was nothing, like I should just accept her betrayal. The realization that she'd been lying for months, sneaking around with her therapist, was too much. I told her she needed to leave, pack her bags, go stay somewhere else, because I didn't want to see her face again that night. She snapped, calling me controlling, insecure, and told me I was overreacting because I wasn't giving her what she wanted. That's when I finally saw her true colors: selfish, bitchy, manipulative, and utterly unrepentant. As she stormed out, screaming about how I was overreacting, I felt this strange mix of relief and heartbreak. Relief because I finally knew the truth, and heartbreak because I'd loved her. I'd trusted her. But at the same time, I knew I couldn't just go back to how things were. The whole foundation of our marriage was rotted from the start. I didn't want to stay, not with her cheating behind my back, not with her calling me paranoid and insecure. I realized I had to decide whether I wanted to keep fighting for a marriage that was beyond repair or finally cut the cord. That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept circling back to her words, her lies, the way she'd looked at Tom like he was everything. I felt so betrayed, so stupid for not seeing it sooner. I thought about all the times she'd bitch at me for small things, how she'd gaslight me into thinking I was crazy. Now I saw her for what she really was: a manipulative, selfish woman who'd do anything for her own pleasure. I knew this wasn't just about cheating, it was about how much she valued me, less than nothing. And honestly, I didn't know if I'd ever recover from this. The days that followed were a blur of emotion: anger, heartbreak, confusion. I was stuck in this limbo, trying to process everything I'd uncovered. Part of me wanted to go back, to pretend none of it had happened, but deep down, I knew I couldn't. That betrayal ran too deep. Every time I saw her number pop up on my phone, my stomach clenched. When she finally showed up at the house again, her face was smug, like she thought she'd won some game. She knocked twice, then barged in without waiting for me to say anything. "Look, Mike," she started, folding her arms defensively. "I don't know what you want from me. I told you I was bored. I told you I needed something different. And you're acting like I slept with the guy forever. It's just sex, okay? No big deal." Her tone was bitchy, dismissive, like she was trying to brush it all off as if her cheating wasn't a huge deal. I looked at her and saw that familiar sneer, the way she was trying to make me feel guilty for catching her. I couldn't hold back anymore. "Are you serious right now? Just sex? That's your excuse? You've been lying, sneaking around for months, and now you're acting like it's nothing. You think I don't see through your bullshit?" I was trembling with rage, my fists clenched. "You've been playing me for a fool, Amanda. You told me you loved me, and all along you were fucking my therapist. How stupid do you think I am?" She rolled her eyes, scoffing. "Oh, come on, Mike. You're so dramatic. It's really not that big of a deal. I don't owe you an explanation. I'm tired of this whole dramatic thing. Maybe I just needed some excitement, some attention. You think I'm the bitch? Please. If you weren't so insecure, maybe I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere." Her words hit me like a slap. How callous, how bitchy she sounded, like she didn't care about the damage she'd done. I looked at her, feeling a strange mix of disgust and sadness. I'd loved her. I tried to make it work. But her attitude, the way she dismissed everything, made me realize she was beyond saving. I told her to leave again, to go stay with her mother or whoever, because I couldn't stand to see her anymore. She snapped at me, calling me controlling, saying I was making everything about me, that she hadn't done anything wrong. That's when I understood. She was a master at twisting things, at making herself the victim, just like she always did. The thing is, I couldn't even be mad at her anymore. I was just tired. Tired of the lies, tired of the betrayal, tired of feeling like I had been living with a stranger all along. I packed her bags myself and told her to leave that night. Watching her grab her stuff, I felt nothing but emptiness. I'd been so blind, so naive, and now I was left standing there, realizing my life had changed forever. That woman I loved, the one I thought was my wife, had been gone long before I found out. I just finally saw it. The worst part, I kept replaying every moment: the way she'd lie to my face, the times she'd bitch at me, the way she'd manipulate every conversation. I kept asking myself where I went wrong, but I knew deep down she was just a selfish bitch who thought she could get away with anything. I felt betrayed, not just by her, but also by the idea that I'd let myself get so exposed, so vulnerable. It's like I'd torn down all the walls for her, and she just used that trust to stab me in the back. Now I'm left with this emptiness, this sense that everything I believed in was just a lie. I don't know if I'll ever fully get over it. The pain runs deep, but I also know I have to move on. I've started making plans to get out of this mess, to rebuild something for myself. But I can't lie, part of me still hopes she'll come back and admit she's made a mistake. Honestly, after everything I've seen and felt, I don't think I'll ever trust her again. And that's the worst feeling of all. The days turned into weeks, and I found myself in this strange limbo, half trying to move on but still haunted by everything that happened. I stayed away from her, avoided her calls and texts, and focused instead on trying to salvage whatever shred of dignity I had left. Honestly, I felt like I'd been hit by a train. How could someone I loved so deeply turn out to be such a bitch? That thought kept circling back, fueling this simmering anger in me. I kept asking myself, did I really know her at all? One afternoon, I finally decided I needed closure, not for her but for myself. I sat down and wrote her a long letter, one I never planned to send, but I needed to get all my feelings out on paper. I poured everything into it, the betrayal, the disappointment, the heartbreak, but also the realization that I deserved better. I called her a selfish, lying bitch and told her she'd lost me forever. After I finished, I felt a strange sense of relief, like I'd finally confronted everything I'd been suppressing. That night I made the decision. I was done with Amanda, done with the lies, the betrayals, the bullshit. I wasn't going to let her destroy me any further. I knew I had to focus on myself now, rebuild from the ground up. I started hitting the gym harder, taking long walks and reconnecting with my friends. It was like I was trying to piece myself back together, one small step at a time. But even with all that, there was this lingering anger, pure, unfiltered rage at her for what she'd done and how she'd lied. Then came the moment I knew I'd have to do something more. I found out that she'd been seeing Tom even after I kicked her out. I got the proof, more texts, more pictures showing they'd been sneaking around and still seeing each other. That's when I decided I'd had enough. If she thought she could get away with this, she was dead wrong. I wasn't just going to sit there and let her use me as a punching bag. No, I needed to take control. I hired a private investigator to follow her. I wanted to see the full picture, how deep the rabbit hole went. What I found was worse than I expected. She'd been lying to everyone, even her own friends, about her breakup, telling them she was just taking time for herself. Meanwhile, she was out with Tom, doing God knows what. I felt this cold fury rising inside me. This wasn't just about infidelity anymore. It was about her total lack of respect for me, for us, for everything we'd built. One night, I finally confronted her face to face. I met her at a bar she frequented and I laid it all out, proof, lies, everything. Her reaction was classic Amanda, denial, blame shifting, that bitchy sneer. She told me I was overreacting, that I was jealous, that I was insecure. She even had the nerve to say I was controlling, like I was the problem all along. But I just looked at her and said, "You think I don't see what you're doing? You think I don't know how much you've lied? You're a cheating bitch, Amanda. And I don't want you in my life anymore." That was it. I told her to get lost for good this time. I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. Watching her walk away, I felt this strange mix of relief and emptiness. I'd finally taken charge of my life again, but the wound still stung. The betrayal cut so deep, I wondered if I'd ever really get over it. At that moment, I realized that revenge wasn't about hurting her, although part of me wanted to, but about reclaiming myself and my dignity. I knew I'd carry this scar forever, but I also knew I had to keep moving forward. Now, I'm working on putting everything behind me. I've started therapy, trying to process the pain and building a new life that doesn't include her. The burning question I keep asking myself, how do you come back from something like this? Honestly, I don't have a perfect answer, but I do know that I won't allow her to define me. I'll rebuild, stronger and smarter, knowing that I deserve honesty, respect, and someone who truly values me. And maybe, just maybe, I'll find happiness again, without the bitchy, manipulative woman who thought she could get away with anything. Looking back now, I realize how much this whole mess changed me. It's like I was living in this fantasy world where I thought I could trust her forever. But trust, I learned, isn't guaranteed, especially not when someone's willing to lie, cheat, and manipulate. I've come to accept that sometimes people are just selfish, and no matter how much you love them, they'll still betray you if it suits their needs. That's a brutal truth I had to face. It's been months since I kicked Amanda out, and honestly, the pain has started to dull a little. I still get hit by waves of anger and sadness every now and then, but I've learned to breathe through it, to focus on myself instead of obsessing over what I lost. I've thrown myself into work, into the gym, and into my friends, who have been surprisingly supportive even when I didn't ask for it. I've realized that healing isn't linear. Some days, I feel like I'm making progress, and others, I feel like I've taken 10 steps back. But I know I can't keep living in the past. One thing I've come to see clearly is that this experience taught me some hard lessons about boundaries, trust, and self-worth. I wasted too much time trying to fix something that was already broken, something I should have seen crumbling long before I actually found out. But now I know what I won't tolerate, what I deserve, and what I need to be cautious of in the future. Women like Amanda, selfish, manipulative, bitchy, are out there, and I don't want to be caught off guard again. I also learned that revenge isn't about hurting her, it's about reclaiming yourself. When I finally confronted her, told her she was a cheating bitch, and kicked her out, I felt a surge of power I hadn't felt in years. That moment was a turning point, an affirmation that I still had control over my life, even after everything she'd taken from me. I don't hate her anymore, not really. I just feel sorry for her, that she's so selfish she couldn't see what she was losing. But I refuse to let her define my happiness or my future. Now, I focus on rebuilding my confidence, learning to trust again, but more carefully this time. I'm reminded every day that I am worthy of honesty, respect, and love, things I once took for granted but now truly value. The scars will stay, but they're a reminder that I survived the worst, and I'm stronger because of it. I've come to accept that. Sometimes, life throws these betrayals at you to teach you what really matters. And in the end, the only thing that truly matters is how you pick yourself up after being knocked down. So here's what I want to tell anyone reading this. Trust your instincts. Don't ignore the red flags, no matter how much you love someone. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And never let anyone make you feel guilty for walking away from toxicity. I did, and while it hurt like hell, I know I've come out the other side a better, wiser man. Life's too short to stay stuck in a relationship built on lies and betrayal. Keep your head up, take care of yourself, and remember, you're worth more than any bitch who thinks she can cheat and lie her way through life.